In this video, we're going to take a deep look at Allen, Texas from a bird's eye view. So, if you've been wondering about Allen, Texas and you'd like to learn more, stay tuned. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel, welcome, glad to meet you. My name is Wendy Pinnell. I am a local real estate broker here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you want to know everything there is to know about living in Dallas, Texas, or any one of its many suburbs, including Allen, Texas, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell. In this video, we are going to take a look at any and all things Allen, Texas. We're going to talk about schools, we're going to talk about commute times, we're going to talk about shopping, and we're definitely going to talk about outdoor recreation. So, if all of that sounds good, let's hop on my computer and get started. Okay, so there is just too many good things about Allen for us to not explore this fantastic suburb. So let's dig right in here. Here we have Allen, Texas. Let's kind of take a look and see where does that fit into the whole Dallas-Fort Worth area. So let me kind of zoom out here so you can see right in here. Maybe we'll zoom out just a little bit more so you can really get that picture. You have Fort Worth over here, Dallas here, and then you have Allen situated just north to Plano. Okay, so you can see right there, definitely in terms of centrally located, this is not one that we would call centrally located, right? Because it's definitely north of Dallas and not so close at all to Fort Worth. Okay, so now that you have seen Allen on the map, let's take a look at some basic facts and info to get you acquainted with Allen, so to speak. All right, here we go. Population of Allen is 111,000. So, right off the bat, if you've watched our videos on Plano or McKinney or Frisco, right off the bat, you can see that that population is quite a bit smaller. All right, so it's in Collin County. We've talked about how Collin County is just exploding in growth, lots and lots of growth there. The land area, 26 miles. Why do I include this? Because this is important in terms of how crowded is Allen, Texas, right? Population density. So even though, we've talked about, I just mentioned that this is much smaller than Frisco and Plano, it is also a land area much smaller. So believe it or not, Allen, Texas actually has a higher population density than, Frisco, Plano, all of its neighboring cities. So, don't let that lower population fool you, right? It's got that higher population density. Growth rate, 1.86%. So, still to this day, Midlothian takes the cake at a 6.5% growth rate. But it is growing, at the Irving one where it was shrinking, right? So it is growing, but not at a super fast clip. Okay, growth since 2010, 32%. Okay, the 2010 population, 82,000 and some change. All right, average household income, 131,000. So where does this fit into the grand scheme of things? Well, you'll see it, a similar average household income in Mansfield. This is much higher than what you would see in Arlington, but much lower than what you would see in Westlake. So that kind of gives you an idea there of the average, how that fits into the Metroplex. Home ownership rate, 74%. We like to see that. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, it's kind of nice to see all the neighbors putting down roots, right? So this is still, eclipsed by South Lakes. South Lake has like a 95% home ownership rate, but this is still a very good home ownership rate. It's up there. All right, well, let's see here now. What do we have? Well, now that we've seen and given you kind of a taste of the statistics, probably the next thing you're asking is commute times. Wendy, how long of a commute is this gonna take me? Well, to answer that question, we're gonna have to zoom out just a little bit so that we can show downtown Dallas and Fort Worth on the map, because I always think it's important to, obviously there are jobs everywhere, right? But I always think it's important to kind of center ourselves on Dallas and Fort Worth. Okay, so what would the commute in Dallas look like? Well, we're talking about 31 minutes, and it's going to be a straight shot. This is Highway 75, and from Allen, you're going to go straight down here. So, so great that you don't have to worry about missing exits and whatnot. But 75 can be a congested highway, so you need to know that. So if you're going at peak hour when there's going to be a lot of traffic, this 31 minutes could very quickly turn into, 45 minutes, or longer. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, how about a commute to Fort Worth? Let's take a look at that. Well, if you were commuting to downtown Fort Worth, you'd be talking about a 51-minute commute. So let's see what that would look like. Well, this would really depend on whether you're coming from North Allen or South Allen. So if you were in the southern part of Allen, you would take I-75. You're going to jump on George W. Bush, 183, and then 121. So not an ideal commute if you are in Fort Worth, right? So you know what, if you've been watching this video and your new job, if you're relocating is in Fort Worth, you might want to hop onto my map video of Mansfield or Midlothian, because those are going to give you a much more, or even Arlington, those are going to give you a much more favorable commute time. Okay, what about if you needed to go for some entertainment? You wanted to get out, for the night. You wanted to go to the AT&T Stadium. Well, I always like to point this one out because this is kind of an entertainment hub, okay? So in order to do that, you're going to take 75 George W. Bush down here until you get to I-30, and then there you are. So what is here? Well, you have baseball, you have football, you have Six Flags Over Texas, Hurricane Harbor, lots to do there. So I always like to include that. Again, not a super favorable commute. You're talking about 44 minutes. All right, now what if you had to travel with work? Okay, and again, this is going to depend on if you're in North Allen or more that southern section of Allen. But if you're in that southern section, you're going to take 75 to George W. Bush down to 121. To get there, it's going to set you back by about 35 minutes. And again, the same thing that we talked about with Plano. If you're going at peak traffic times, you can definitely add on a good 10 to 15 minutes to this. So commute to the airport, not super great, but really it's tolerable, if you're okay with like a 45-minute commute in traffic time. All right, let's take a look at Las Colinas, okay? The Las Colinas Business Center, okay? In fact, I'm going to go ahead and shut down a few of these so that you can really get an idea of Las Colinas. There we are. It's only a 27-minute commute. And we've done in other videos about Las Colinas, we've talked about how there's like 125,000 jobs there. So if you're relocating to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it's probably a fairly good chance that you've got a job in Las Colinas. It's only a 27-minute commute. Again, traffic may lengthen it considerably. But you're talking about 75 to George W. Bush. And there you are, Las Colinas. One of the great things about Las Colinas are all those highways, all right? Would love that. But yeah, so anyway, a 27-minute there on that commute. How about the lakes? We touched on, the AT&T Stadium for fun, but maybe you're really big into the lake life too. And maybe you're coming from an area where, you're real active in the lakes or in the beach, and you want to know, hey, where are those water areas, Wendy? Well, you're pretty close here to Louisville Lake, and you're even closer to Lake Lavon. Okay, so either way, probably Lake Lavon is your closest, but you're in fairly close proximity to either. Neat thing about Lake Lavon, see all this green space? You've got more than just the lake here. You've also got some hiking trails and some biking. So that's really neat about Lake Lavon. So, if that outdoor nature activity is important to you, you're not that far from where you can find that at Lake Lavon. So that kind of tells you, how to get to Allen from work, kind of shows you where it is in reference to Dallas and Fort Worth. But let's take a closer look at Allen itself. So let me add that on there again so you can see there are those 26 square miles looking at you again. In terms of highway access, you've got 121 right here on the northern tip, and then you have I-75 coming straight through north-south. But what don't you have? Well, you don't have any good east-west corridors to take you across. So let's just say you're on this part of Allen and you need to get to 75. Wow, that might take you a bit, right? But if you're on this side, hey, you've got options, right? You've got 121 here. But yeah, over on this side, not great highway access. That's not going to help your commute time any either. Okay, but what about Allen itself? Let's zoom in here. Let's take that close and deep dive look into Allen. And hey, let's talk about the important stuff first. Let's talk about shopping. Okay, that's pretty important. Over here, you have Waters Creek. Really neat area here. Lots to look at, lots to satisfy you. And just in general, Allen is going to satisfy your needs for retail as well as dining. And you can really see that here in Waters Creek. Look at all these different places. You've got Brio, Italian Grill, Panera, Mikachina, P.F. Chang's, right? You've also got plenty of shopping. You've got Michael's, you've got Market Street. There's the Bluefish Allen. So you can see right here at Waters Creek, lots of shopping, and that is only one of the places. We've also got the Allen Premium Outlets, and I really wanted to show you that. It is a huge, huge outlet mall. So here we have, let me zoom in there, the Allen Premium Outlets, 120 different shops in this outlet mall. So it's definitely a very, look at that, it's just huge, so much to offer. So if outlet malls are your thing and you move to Allen, wow, you're so close to it. So you can see right here, you've got Famous Footwear, Sperry Outlet, the White House Black Market, you've got Tommy Hilfiger, you've got the Fossil Outlet, you know, you've got your Starbucks, Italian Express. In Allen, I love that their outlet mall has tons of shopping, but I also love that it's just got some eateries in there. So you can really make it like an all-day experience. Do your shopping without really ever having to leave. And if you for whatever reason didn't like what the outlet mall had to offer, wow, look at these choices right across the highway. Got Bonefish Grill, Pluckers, Freebirds, World Burrito, BJ's. So like I said, again, Allen is just so self-sustaining when it comes to both retail and dining. You also have the Village at Allen, which is right here. And again, that's that just across the highway, in case you didn't like what you found to eat, or, if you didn't find what you were looking for shopping-wise, you can find it at the Village at Allen. Here you've got your Burlington, your TJ Maxx, your Dick's Sporting Goods. So you kind of get the idea now that Allen definitely has the shopping going on. Let me show you also the Twin Creeks Village right here. So yet another shopping hub. And again, look at all that you have there. Staples, Petco, Tom Thumb, the UPS store, Quick Trip, of course, Bath and Body Works. Hey, and I'm not done yet. There's also the Allentown Center. So let's take a look at that one, the Allentown Center. If you were worried that it was all just along 75 and maybe, you moved into this eastern section, there you've got the Allentown Center with its own kind of shopping, okay? So let's take a look at that. All right, Antique Mall, okay. Tongo Empanadas Bakeries, Crystal Nail Spa, Lucky House Chinese, the Sloppy Mess Kitchen. Okay, so you've also got shopping at the Allentown Center. So lots of shopping opportunities. Let me kind of zoom out here so you can see all of that. So you definitely are not going to have to worry about shopping when it comes to Allen, Texas. They've definitely got you covered there. Everything from outlet mall to your traditional staple stores. Now, Allen has a really neat park that I wanted to show you. It is called the Allen Station Park, and it is actually right over by their high school. But boy, does this park have so much to offer. Let me give you, in fact, a look here. It has baseball, it has walking trails, okay, and biking trails. It has a playground, skate park, BMX track, and roller hockey rinks. So I'm telling you, this is just such a great park. What a fantastic experience. Just a really neat area for that green space. And also, like I said, really close to the Allen High School football stadium. And speaking of school football stadium, let's touch a minute on schools, because I know that is important to so many of you. So let's take a look at what niche.com has to say. All right, here we are. Well, Allen schools have an A+. Their public schools have an A+. Niche.com gives housing a B+, good for families an A, crime and safety B-, and diversity an A. And you know what? They give those schools an A+ rating with good reason. In fact, let me kind of give you an idea of greatschools.org of all the different schools in Allen. Okay, like I said, here is greatschools.org, and this is their elementary schools. So let's take a look at that. Look at those numbers. 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 8, 9, 9, 9. And then over on this side, you have a few that are lower, the 4, 5, and 6. But wow, look at those, all those 8s and 9s. Okay, how about intermediate, middle school? Let's take a look at that. Also, plenty of great scores, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10. So these are your middle school ratings, 8, 8, 8, 8, 9, 8, 9, 8, 8, 9. Okay, how about high school? Let's take off the middle and the elementary. All right, there are your high school ratings. This is your Allen High School, and here is your Lowry Freshman Center. So yeah, Allen High School, 8 out of 10, and there you have their famed, ginormous Eagle Stadium. All right, in fact, let's take a look, a little bit more detail on Allen High School. So let's look at that. That's where you have it right there. Allen High School. Let's zoom in on that and look at that. They have the Eagle Stadium, which is massive. At one point, it was the largest football stadium in the nation, and it should be. They spent $60 million building it. Their football team, excellent. 2022, number 5 in the Texas high school rankings. They have a 700-member marching band. Their high school stores within the top 5% on their test scores, and 90% of those in Allen High School go on to pursue higher education. So yeah, overall, if you were wondering about schools, wow, niche.com was not far off at all when they gave it that A+. So what about higher education in Allen? Well, Allen does have the Collin College Technical Campus, but they do not have within Allen of, like a 4-year university. Okay, so good schools, you've got an idea of that. You've got a good idea of shopping. So it may very well be that your next question is, what about housing? So let's talk about that for just a minute. Talk about housing, we'll touch on that. The median sales price in Allen past 90 days, $470,000. So lower than some, and a lot higher than many others. So definitely higher, for example, than Arlington. Probably right about on par with a place like Mansfield. Okay, so median sales price, $470,000. Median price per square foot in the past 90 days, $198 a square foot. Okay. The luxury and affluent areas, you have Northwest Allen in general is going to be like your more luxury affluent area, plus Twin Creeks subdivision. Now, Twin Creeks has been around a long time. It has a beautiful, beautiful area with mature trees, and it's just surprising that it still has new construction going on, but nonetheless it does. And you also have the Montgomery Ridge subdivision. In fact, let me show you where both of those are in case those are ones that you want to consider. So right here you have Montgomery Ridge, and over here you have Twin Creeks. And Twin Creeks really is one of their nicer areas. This subdivision has a lot to offer, including their own golf club, but they also have pools, tennis courts, parks. So yeah, really neat area in here, this Twin Creeks. But I hear you asking, hey, Wendy, what about new construction? Okay, so I like Allen. Does Allen have any new construction? Well, yes, it does. And like I said, Twin Creeks is one of them. But you also have Lexington Estates. So let me zoom out and show you Lexington Estates on the map. Right up here, right along the Sam Rayburn Tollway, you'll have Lexington Estates right by the Outlet Mall. So you do have those new construction areas, and you also have Ridgeview Crossing. So yeah, so some, new construction options there. And this one, again, really, really nice area. Really nice. The older sections of it with those beautiful mature trees, plus, surrounded by that golf club. So it's really neat there, but also these two as well. Now, so we wouldn't say, like, for example, if I were to do a map like this of Midlothian, we would see new construction everywhere, right? If I were to do one of Mansfield, we would also see new construction everywhere. So definitely not the case here. If I were to do that even in places like Forney, we would see a lot of new construction. But so not the case here in Allen, but you do also have some options there. So that's, it's nice to know that there are at least some options, even if, we wouldn't say, oh my goodness, Allen is exploding in growth, right? Because we wouldn't say that, but it does have some new growth. So that's neat to see. Okay, so was this map tour helpful? I hope it was, because again, just Allen has so much to offer. You know, one of the things I didn't mention is that even with those commutes being so long, there's also a lot of jobs right in here. So, you know, if you're moving to the area and your job is in Frisco and Plano, wow, you know what? Short commute there. So anyway, so I hope this video was helpful. If it was, you know, the next best thing you can do is to hop on over to my YouTube channel and find some more videos. I do these map tours all the time. I also do a lot of vlog tours. We do model home tours. So anyway, love to have you hop on over there and watch a few more videos. But listen, in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me today on this tour. And listen, have a great day.